Wow, this is actually pretty clear. What's up, people? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Supreme Decisions, and yes, you see it right. I am in Dallas, Texas, and tonight I am enjoying a little bit of chill time because I'm almost home, but I'm back in Texas, so that's the love. Get to chill in front of the fire, and yes, playing with the iPhone 11. Got to love it. This picture's a lot clearer than I thought it would be. But tonight, just as the title suggests, we're going to have a quick conversation. Might have a couple conversations because I messed around and drank coffee today. And I had a couple energy drinks. So, yeah, I'm probably going to be woke. My eyes are dark as hell, too. But anyway, the conversation tonight is going to be about withdrawing consent. And most of us don't even realize that in the midst of doing a Terry stop, you often hear officers talk about how they're searching you for weapons because they don't know or for officer safety. And I told you, Terry v. Ohio goes into a lot of depth of how the search is to be conducted, which is why the stop and frisk is illegal. And also, there are instances where I've seen people give consent, which I showed in the, I believe it was the Daniel Ross video, where he offered the officer consent, and then the officer found some other stuff. And I am really close to the airport, so that's why you hear these loud-ass planes. Probably not going to be the last one. But like I was saying, Terryville, Ohio goes in depth of the stop and frisk being illegal, but it also goes into when you do something such as Daniel Ross did, and that's give an officer consent to either pat you down or give them consent to search your house, search your car. And most people don't know, just in that one case, it deals with withdrawing consent as well. Because while there are exceptions to the withdrawal, there is a point to which you can actually say, hey, no, we're done with that. Or you can have them point, or you can point to where they can search for whatever it is that they're looking for. Now, if they do not stop once you withdraw consent and get a warrant and they continue searching, this then falls under the MAP hearings. This is where you would fight that in court. And I thank you guys that are coming in. Hit that like button, hit that share button, because there are a lot of people that are not getting notifications. And I actually know it's kind of late, but like I said, I had a couple espressos, a couple cups of coffee, and energy drink. So I'll probably be woke most of the night, and I'll come up with a couple other things that I might want to talk about for no good reason at all, other than the fact that I can't sleep. And all of them probably will not be on the iPhone 11 because it's got the GoPro, got to use it. But anyway, when you're understanding the fact that you have the consent, you've given consent, you can withdraw it at any time, except the exceptions are you can't tell them, go ahead and pat me down, and then whenever they feel a gun in your pocket, say, nah, you can't search me anymore. You've given them permission, they found something, now it's pretty much free go of it. And what's up, Jingy? Emmanuel. Okay, y'all are rolling on in here. And I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, it's understanding, because just like Ross, because I'm not sure in the video I played, but there was a point where he withdrew consent for the officer to search his car. But it was after the officer had found, I believe it was either the gun or the marijuana. I can't remember, but he did withdraw consent, and then it was beyond the point of no return. Because understand, whether you give them consent or not, there's this thing called plain view. And that's basically why they ask you to roll your windows down, because they get a better view. There is no glare. There's nothing else there, because they are hunting for probable cause. Because just like I say, everything they're doing is not for your benefit. It's for the generation of revenue. And I hate to say things like that, but hell, that's what it is. And in this case, it's me never allowing the pat down unless they have a warrant. I don't give them consent to do anything. I've never given consent. Have I been patted down? Yes. Have I also brought this shit up in court? Yes. Have I won instances in court? All of them? No. But have I won instances with the map hearings in court? Yes. Because every step of the process, I challenge. Because if you're not going to do your job, why are you putting on a uniform? If you're not going to do it properly, why are you setting up this system anyway? Because we have an adversarial system. Because if you remember, I believe it was Wren stated, I do not have the right to remain silent and divulge any information without the Sixth Amendment right to counsel. Do you have a right? Well, you do have a right to not participate in their investigation, which is Florida v. Royer. You also have the right to remain silent because, again, you don't have to participate in their investigation. You're not a police officer. So at the end of the day, when you're sitting there, they do not have a right to search you unless they can articulate. And I watched a video today, and for some reason, I did not download it so I could take it apart, because the one thing this young lady kept stating, because she was a Rhode Island police officer, and she stated several times, I'm able to articulate this because of that. And she stated several times. And I was like, that's what they have to do. So they are being trained that they must articulate. They're just not doing it because of habit. Because you remember, just because you're not breaking the law, just because you're not an asshole that's doing certain things, that does not mean 95% of the people there and counting aren't or are doing. So it's teaching them how to deal with the 5% that actually have some common sense, that actually are doing things and abide by law. It's actually understanding that 5%, we're the ones when you're getting confronted. Not participating to me means not handing them anything, but can be threatened. Now, again, understand when you're being encountered, even a traffic stop, the only thing legal is the stop. They can stop you and detain you for 19 minutes. Now, the participation begins when you acknowledge their presence. It's you start these damn airplanes. I did not realize it was going to be this loud. And is it loud? Can y'all hear the planes going over? Or can you hear me in spite of the planes going over? So just let me know what's going on and I'll keep rolling next time. Or I'll stop and let the shit go by. But the encounter itself becomes consensual, because I'm going to give you a case that actually kind of caught my attention today. And it's one where the police officer does not have to state that his stop is over, which is why you have to ask the question, am I free to leave? Do they hate that? Yes. However, they do have to answer you. What is the emergency and how can I help? Is that not a good question? I've asked something similar to that, and their response is generally a puzzled look, or they'll say something else stupid to me, and I'll be like, because you're employing emergency procedures to which there must be an emergency for it. But now understanding there is no crime, because a traffic citation does not offer an opportunity for anything other than a safety violation, which may cause an injury. And Those are great questions. Am I being detained? Am I under arrest? Or am I free to go? Those are great questions. At some point, those are all valid questions to be asked during the stop. And at the end of the day, they'll say, oh, well, I have probable cause. Okay. The next question would be, who's the complaining witness? Who was injured? Because you have the right to confront those that are accusing you. And I've even asked, so who's accusing me of doing something? And then the officer will say, well, I'm accusing you because of this. Okay, great. How were you injured in that? Okay, you can appreciate that, Emmanuel. So I'll just keep rolling next time it comes by. So at the end of the day, it's understanding. Just because you give them consent on one thing, that does not give them consent for all. And even if you're giving them consent for a pat down, unlike what that jackass said in the one video, well, I'm going to search anyway. No, you can't unless you have a warrant. Those are the only ways that they can actually obstruct your Fourth Amendment. And if they do not, or they continue even after that happens, you then have an option of holding a map hearing to get the whatever, the citation or criminal charges or even evidence that they may have suppressed. And then because of the violation, just like I believe it was Edelman v. Jordan, it allows for you to sue them in federal court because they are acting outside the guidelines of what is necessary for the state that will allow them to do, because the state can't allow them to do anything that violates federal law. So keep that in mind. They cannot violate federal law. Okay, aside from your willingness to use violence, what facts or evidence are you relying on to prove the opinion is true? That's actually a lot to be asking. I'm not even gonna lie. That's a whole lot to ask. I'd probably need like cue cards or something to kind of go in order. Say that to a cop and see what happens. Yeah, they're probably gonna give you a taser. However, I generally ask a couple of questions, and then if they're still persistent and they're kind of huffy, I go ahead and go ahead, cause see, I'll let them know. Yeah, we're gonna have this conversation again in front of a federal court judge, and they'll look at me like, "What do you mean? What, jackass? You've gone beyond the scope of your duties. Why should I not sue the shit out you?" Oh, well, I have. Okay, cool. If you have the right to do that, then when we're standing in front of a federal court judge, the federal court judge will say you have the right to do that. But according to these cases, you don't. So we'll see who's right. And like I said, I've even had one confront me because he was like, "Oh, why were you doing this to me? I got a wife and kids." I said, "Because you didn't give a shit about me or my wife or my children. And I got a flock of them motherfuckers. So why should I care about yours?" So understanding that, because like I say, I never give them consent. And that's where we talk about pattern evidence or habitual evidence. I'm going to eat them up. Yeah. Barbecue chicken, extra sauce, extra sides. Because at the end of the day, they know what they're doing is wrong. They're continuing to do it. And when we're talking about the 5%, the Fourth Amendment is dangerous because most people have no idea how it applies. The Fourth Amendment goes so deep because there are literally 300 to 400 cases on Fourth Amendment situations. But the general construct of it stems from Terry v. Ohio. And then you have, because even the map hearing, Terry v. Ohio was constantly mentioned in map v. Ohio. And then when you're talking about Wade hearings, Terry v. Ohio was mentioned constantly in Wade v. I believe it's Wade. Yeah, I think that was a Wade v. something. I can't remember right now. I'll post it up later. Because one of the things that I often tell people is when you write a complaint for internal affairs or to the police commissioner, or you're complaining to police about a police officer, And then we're having the constructs of, I hate the blue wall, but you complain to the blue wall about the blue wall and you're expecting something from it. To me, that's asinine, because why complain about something and then go complain to it about them? You're expecting the police to police the police, because if that was happening, you wouldn't have the complaint. Now, and the only way, you know what, I'm gonna actually go back to one of my previous videos. Man only has the rights he will defend. And, you know, I wish I could pronounce your name, but make a video about the unlawful complaints, unlawful commands. Now, here's the thing. I actually had this conversation literally 2 days ago with a police officer, and it was funny because the response to me and the look on his face whenever I made the statement was crux enough, because we were talking, because he was actually talking to somebody else, and I was walking by, and I said, you know, are you having a stop, or y'all working? He goes, well, we're working, but he's getting ready to let him go. And I told the dude, I said, dude, you doing too much talking. Just, you know, shut up and don't say nothing. He said, well, I gave him a lawful order. And I looked at him, and my response was, what made the order lawful? And please don't say your uniform. The cop had no response, because he honestly believed just because he's a police officer that someone is supposed to do what he says. And I told him afterwards, I said, you do realize yes, I actually have a video on that. I forgot what it's called, but it's at least a year old. What in the hell is it called? Show of authority stops. So I think it was like video 16 or something like that. But yeah, it's at least a year old, but I'll do another one, because, and I told him, you do realize if you give him an order and he follows it, you've committed a show of authority stop. Just like if you're somewhere and the police officer, all right, well, you leave, you go sit down, you go. They can't give you instructions unless there's a crime. If they do and you follow it, it is unlawful. Exactly, Michael. And Mike, I'm probably going to get back on here later, because I've been looking over, I think, your last text message, because you made a lot of sense with one of them that caught my attention. I believe it was crime versus orders. I think, if I'm wrong, let me know. But, you know, whatever it is, I took notes on it because I've been reading over it all day, because I've been pretty much murdering time and trying to get crime versus offense. Okay, let me get the country out of it. Crime versus offense. Because remember I told you words have power. Well, it depends on where you're at if I can go along with you, but I could definitely help you out. So you're probably gonna have to shoot me an email and I'll respond to you. And it's greatestnow@yahoo. But you have to understand the wordplay, because they can't call it a crime, because a crime has a complaining witness and an injured party. They have corpus delicti. They have probable cause. That's what a crime has. An offense is a broken taillight. That's why they call them traffic offenses, because you can be stopped by an offense, but a crime has to be investigated. Does that make sense? All right. See, I knew I was gonna catch up on you, but I'm gonna go deeper into that. That's why I said I've been taking notes on that all day, because that was a great topic. And that was gonna be your show. So, but yeah, understanding that an offense is a safety issue, and because there is no complaining witness, which is why they have officer discretion to write a citation, because the citation itself has a court date on it. So that means you have an executive officer performing judicial duties. The Separation of Powers Act, which is legislative, executive, and judicial branches of government, they cannot perform the same duties. And when you have an executive officer who is law enforcement, an offense is a safety issue, like a broken tail light. Because if your tail light's out, the people behind you can't see that you're stopping or yielding or what have you. So that can cause injury. And remember, I told you they're responsible for your well-being, which is why if you start talking right, as my grandma used to say, if you hold your mouth right, they do what they're supposed to do. Because even during my RICO trial, the one thing they did, they made sure I was comfortable on my ride when they was transporting me. That was one. And two, they made sure I couldn't talk to anybody because they turned the radio up so loud and took their badges off, which was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life, considering they're the good guys. I heard a guy talk to cop, shut him down real quick. Soon as the cop walks up to him, that one actually went off too. I couldn't read that one. But me, I actually don't worry about shutting them down. I just let them know the time is running. Because at the end of the day, they're not teaching these guys law. They're not teaching them procedures. They're not teaching them anything that they're supposed to do. They're teaching them how to gain revenue, which is why we keep having issues with them. And as well as, so when we're saying things to them, oh, you're fine, Jingy. So when we're saying things to them, 90% of them have no idea, which is why you say, yeah, go ahead and call your supervisor. Because I've actually told them a couple of times when they come up to the car or whatever, like, look, get somebody with an IQ higher than 7. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't feel like talking to you tonight. And they'll call the supervisor out. Now, the supervisor becomes responsible for the actions of their... Okay, Mike, you typed... See, y'all can't keep typing these paragraphs. I can't read them because it's only up here for like 2 seconds. so I have to read it whenever we stop this. So I'm gonna have to get back to that one, Mike. I don't know what you wrote. Oh, hey, you good? You good? I didn't let you know before. It's only up for a couple seconds. But yeah, now you made me forget. But no, at the end of the day, when we're doing these things, we have to understand that we're talking to people that we know have a low IQ. We know they're not hiring the smartest, what is that? The sharpest knives in the drawer. They're exactly because of you know what? Steel V something. I'm going brain dead. I don't have no idea why. But there's a video. I think that was video 20. Supervisors are responsible because I think I did 2 videos and 2 example videos with it. But I know that's at least a year old too. But if I need to, I can go back and redo that one. It's still V something. I think it's still V Franklin for the supervisor responsibility because they're responsible for the action of their subordinates, which is why they come out. And generally, while they may not know all the law, or may not know all law, they do know what they're supposed to check on. And Jingy, yeah, if you go to my page, it's got a whole bunch of writings, and it's a fat guy that's on the front cover of it, and that's not me. Okay, are their opinions considered fact or law? Is who opinions fact or law? Because actually, I'm gonna give you something real quick before you answer that one. When you're applying the case law, it's how you write it. Because you remember, you want to be concise. And anything anybody says, especially the police officers, because you remember I told you they come in as experts, not complainants. They come in as an expert through an amicus brief, which their police report is. That's their amicus brief. Now, what they can't do is prove what they're saying, because we know 76% of videos do not come from police officers because they do not want to turn over their body cams. They do. Video mark 20 is 20 of 100. Oh, no. I'm talking about like video 20 as in like my 20th video. So you got to go all the way to the beginning. It's way up there. No, it's not in the, it is definitely not in the 100 because I think video 1 of 100 is probably video 200. so so no, it's way back. But no, when you're talking about the what was it, supervisor? Was the supervisor might still not in the page? I'll actually no, it's not in the still V whatever is not in the headline. It's Sue Supervisor. I think that's the name of it, Sue Supervisor, but it's like video 20. Actually, if you hold on for a second, I'll see if I can pull it up real quick. Because I got my iPad. But, hey, you know what? I'm going to show y'all this shit. This is Starbucks. This shit is gorgeous in here. So, but yeah. Y'all are great tonight. I appreciate y'all. Hope you had a great holiday. Yeah, not that one. Not what do I do, George. Hold on. One channel. Videos. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, because it's sorry, police. Yeah, that's it. Police stop. Supervisor. Supervisor. That's it. I told you it was way back in there. Let me put this over here. Can you speak on the 5%? Give me 1 second. Okay, my iPad is stopping me. So that's where I got stopped at. I don't know if you can see that. But it's before those videos there. And basically, when we're talking about the 5%, those are the ones that fight back because 95% of people either pay the money. Oh, yeah, that's one of my early videos. So, but yeah, 95% of people actually pay the money or they end up doing time. And the thing is, the 5% that fight back, that actually say, you know what, I'm not taking this. Almost I think the number actually rose in the last 3 years from like, cause remember I told you, they put up baseball numbers. So they were losing almost 2/3 of the time that they would go. Now that percentage is closer to 28%. It's like 28 point something percent that they win. So you're looking at about 81% of people that fight back actually win. That's why they don't want to go to trial, because they're losing at trial. They're winning at scaring you to death. They're winning at making it inconvenience. They're winning at doing what they are trained to do, which is generate revenue. And the 5% that fight back, you're the problem. You're called all kind of crazy names. They're doing things that they'll do things where they'll try to intimidate you. Because even in the video I showed, an interrogation intimidates by design. Everything they're doing is something that's tactical, and their tactics are designed to generate revenue. So when you sit up there, just like I had the jackass call me a sovereign citizen. Are you a sovereign citizen? I said, okay. I said, just for shits and giggles, let's say I am. What court case did that change? What law does it change based on who you believe I am? None. So it does not change your duties. So why would you ask that stupid question? I said, because everybody that is learned in law is supposedly a sovereign citizen because I don't want to give you money. Now, here's the greatest part about that question. Do you have the right to be sovereign? You have the right to be left alone. You have the right to be educated. You have the right to fight back. But again, you only have the rights you are willing to defend. Nobody's going to give it to you. You have to literally go out and take it. I often use the phrase that whenever I start to fight back, and I hate to keep using the Rico case, but at the end of the day, I was a mean, horrible, angry person during that. I became a monster. But the difference was I did not allow that monster to become me. Because had I did that, that's what they wanted. Because that's the picture they was trying to paint of me. That I was this horrible person. I was this other stuff. And I'm sorry, that's not me. I might not be the nicest dude, but I'm definitely not the person they were talking about. And that was the one thing I brought up during trial too, because we had a lot of back and forth conversations because I was not in jail at the time. I was out on bond. And I'm going to thank Jose, but I'm also going to talk about his ass too. Appreciate the bonding out, but I'm going to talk about y'all ass in a little while. Am I a man or, that's a great question. You are a human being. That's all that matters to me. And you're watching and you're showing love, you're commenting. So that's all we need. But they tried to paint a picture. They did a lot of things that scared the people around me. And one of the questions I asked one of the officers that arrested me, I said, you had a shoot to kill warrant and you heard all these horrible things about me. You heard I was going to come out shooting and I was going to do all this. I was going to do all that. Why didn't you pull the trigger? His response amazed me. He looked at me and he said, because I did not see the person that was on that sheet of paper. He literally made that determination in 2 seconds. That he did not see the person that was this horrible human being that was on the sheet of paper that he had been notified about, that had been trained about and all this other. He didn't see that when he looked at me. And that's when I had told John Melvin, the district attorney at that time that was doing all this foolishness against me, y'all tried to paint me in a light and push me in the corner. The problem is I'm not acting. You can call me whatever you need to call me. Whatever makes you feel good at night and get you in your bed all snuggy up, do that, because I don't give that much of a shit. But understand that doesn't affect me. Your thoughts don't affect me. Because when you become preoccupied with their words, they've won. Because the one thing I say to 90% of the people that I help, stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused. Because they invite chaos. They say a whole bunch of stuff. They'll throw a whole bunch of stuff at you just so you can get sidetracked because you want to tell your side. Nobody gives a shit about your side. That goes in how they're dealing with you. That goes in the paperwork they're sending you. That goes into every aspect of the trial, because the second you lose focus, they win. If you stay focused, they have no choice but to focus on the law. If you worry about your side, guess what? Nobody cares. So guess what you have not done? You're not enforcing law. You're enforcing your opinion, and your opinion is not law, because your feelings don't fucking matter. And that's the one thing that I like I say, I think you can ask anybody that I'm helping. I say I need to stay focused. Warren versus District Court. Cops are not here. Yeah, pretty much. Because, and I'm gonna do a video on the difference between they don't, police officers understand do not owe anybody a service. However, when they take their oath of office, the Constitution itself is a trust document. That trust document creates, once it is signed and filed, a fiduciary duty. The police officer's duty is what we constantly talk about when we're talking about the stop and frisk, when we're talking about any of these other little idiosyncrasies, even the traffic citation. Those are things that you, one, must fight back to enforce, and two, that's their fiduciary duty. That is not a service. Enforcing a warrant or enforcing a restraining order is a service. That's not a duty. But like I said, again, I'm going to get into that later. But it's because they are very distinct differences. That's, again, officer discretion if they're going to enforce the restraining order, because the restraining order becomes a crime if that person causes bodily harm or damages property. So understand that. Even if they're enforcing it, generally it's for revenue. Thank you. They do not owe a duty of service. They don't owe you a service. They have a fiduciary duty to work towards your benefit. That is not servicing you. Even though there's people that have cop fantasies and get serviced by cops, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, they do not owe you a service. But they do owe you a fiduciary duty, which is why when you ask them a question, they must articulate, because you are the one that they are serving in their fiduciary duty. They are the trustee of your estate, so to speak, when you're out in the public. Now, are there, again, far-reaching premises to that? Yes, but at the end of the day, it's understanding these are things that must be enforced. And because, again, the problem is we don't have law enforcement. We have these bad, they're more code enforcement because they're there to generate revenue. And while they offer services, you know what? I'm gonna say something. I did a poem, and the reason I did the poem is because the scariest thing any of us deal with is understanding how powerful we are. The one thing that most people actually fall out and forget, don't follow through with, or even want, is the responsibility of self-knowledge. When I did the poem, and it spoke about, it is not the darkness that frightens us most, it is our light. Because we put so much weight on the opinions of others that we forget that our light is the only one that matters or should matter to us. Because as long as I'm not doing anything to hurt you, as long as I'm not doing anything to degrade you, to demean you, you have no worth to me. Because I'm actually going into one, because I had a young lady, because I literally, this is like, I said this 2 days ago. This young lady interjected herself into a situation with myself and my child's mother, because she made herself more important in my life than she was. And she expected something. Don't know why. And apparently she didn't know me. Because as far as I don't know you from a can of paint, which give a fuck because I didn't want to talk to you no way. But the simple thing is, she just decided that she wanted to have a conversation with me. I just looked at her. But the question goes back into, if I don't speak to you, how does my life change? What value do you bring to me? Because if I never talk to her, what about that situation has she changed? Nothing. It's just like she wanted to hear herself speak and she expected to be acknowledged, and I couldn't give it to her. I just couldn't. Because because just like that cop, he expected to be acknowledged. I gave him more attention than was necessary. But he also walked away because regardless if I go through or not, he got a little substance. Because my whole thing is, I am programmed, and I do mean it the way I say it, because my father programmed me to every situation that I go into, I have to leave it better than I found it. At no point in my life did he say, you got to be a nice guy. You got to do it right. You got to do it like that. You got to be nice. Fuck that. No, he's never said I had to be a nice guy. Most of my life, I have not been a nice guy. However, one of the things I can say is I'm honest. And in my honesty, I lack tact. Don't give a shit. It's just what it is. I very rarely gave a shit about somebody else's feelings or opinion because, yeah, it doesn't affect my life unless I allow it to. But when you talk to somebody, the one thing about that is they generally expect a response. They expect to have an importance in your life. And I appreciate that. You know, I don't think I've been overly abusive except to those that should have been abused. Bastards. But one of my favorite stories is one, my son, I'm not going to say which one, but when he watched this video, he know who he is. He's grown now. But he was about 3 years old, and he and I were at this grocery store. He's in this phase at 3 years old that he spoke to every human being that walked by him. Hi, 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 hi. And I used to be like, boy, shut up, stop. Just so happened, while we walked through the store, he's speaking to everybody. We get to the register. There's a young man that's standing in front of us. And, oh, okay. So, he makes eye contact with the guy that's standing in front of me. And he's like, hi. Guy turns around. Like my son is not even there. I just cracked up laughing. And so my son looks at me. Then he looks back over at him. He starts again, hi. Hi. He walks up to this dude and slaps him on the leg. Hi. So my son then goes, Dad, why is he not speaking to me? I had to explain to a 3-year-old, everybody does not have to respond to you just because you're talking to them. I even gave him a few reasons. Hell, they might not like you. They don't know you. They don't speak to strangers. I said, hell, some days I don't like you. But at the end of the day, they don't have to respond to you. I said most people that you're going to meet don't have the manners or wherewithal to even speak to a child. Then the guy turns around and goes, hey, how you doing? So that actually made my son happy. So I grabbed my son, covered his ears. I said, you could have kept that fucking hello. I said, because it was fake as hell because he hit you and you didn't want to speak to him. But the lesson was that my son actually eventually, he didn't learn it like the next day because he kept doing it and kept expecting it. But it was probably about 6 or 7 before he realized people didn't have to talk to him anymore. And it affected him in a means to where he understood better. If they don't acknowledge him, don't give them anything else. So, but for the most part, that's where we're at. And I appreciate everybody. I got a couple videos that'll be going up probably in the morning. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys for all the donations. And don't forget, y'all can also hit that super chat. I might be back on here later on tonight unless y'all got a couple more questions. Okay, actually, I just pulled up something. I might be able to answer a couple of the questions y'all asked me. Give me a second. Government officers, that's not it. Where's that paragraph Mike had put on here? Okay, yeah, one was Ren, and I'm gonna have. Do you have a video on how not to have a lawyer? No, I do not have a video on that. But the easiest way to do that is literally through a motion. If you do not want to have a bar card carrying attorney represent your interests, the first thing you file is an entry of appearance. And that's basically stating you are going to represent your own interests. The second thing that you file will be a motion to not have a bar card representative represent your interests, because keep in mind, the whole thing that they're doing is covering their own ass. Because if there is a chance for you to lose your liberty and you have the right of choice, they have to offer representation. Because remember, you're going into a place where they're dumbing down the educational system. They're allowing stupid shit like Ebonics, and they're telling you that you are incompetent until proven otherwise. And if you do not do it the correct way, because a lot of people tell me, oh, I put in my paperwork, and they still force an attorney on them, and I tell them, your paperwork's wrong. They don't understand that, but I tell your paperwork's wrong. And generally, it's as simple as firing all bar card carrying attorneys to represent your interests, and then 2, writing a motion for the entry of appearance. Why? Because every representative has to have one on file to work in a court case. An entry of appearance. Now, those are the first steps of showing. I didn't go to Harvard. Well, Jingy, you should be going to Harvard, because Harvard has all their stuff on their website for free. So you should be going to Harvard. I can't give you that walk pass. But also in that's when a lot of your other stuff kicks in when you're talking about discovery. You file that motion for discovery. But in discovery, you must be specific. And I'm actually there's a video that's going up. It probably won't be tomorrow, because I've got a ton of videos I have not edited. And that's one of them. But where I go into the specificity. Where's D at? She normally corrects my poor grammar or speech or whatever the hell that is with my little country accent. My specificity in your discovery motion. And you also file, because understanding the context of speedy trial, they're doing things to wear you out, intimidate you, all that blah, blah, blah. You now set them up for the loss, set them up to push them towards trial. And then you do something like file a motion for speedy trial. Because once it is filed, they've got 90 days. And if it's not done in that 90 days, it is a violation of due process. I'm actually going to do a live on the Pleasanton, Texas Police Departments and some of the tactics that they're using to not turn over evidence. We've actually found the state attorney that represents them. So we're now I'm gonna show you exactly how to then now go after their bonds and blah, 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 blah. Because I believe Pleasanton is insured. Their officers are insured because I think it's only like 10 of them. And we're actually in the process of suing, I think, 6 of them. And then we're going to add the chief to it, and I'm going to show you why. So it's getting ready to be one of those things, because 2020, we're going to do some big things, really big. And we're also going to, I actually have a clothing line coming out. So you'll start seeing me and my people with some shirts, a couple polos, a couple other little things. Won't be in this stuff here, but Echo. But I don't have a problem with Echo. Just keep that in mind. You know, y'all come with the dollars. I'll put this stuff back on. But, okay, what did you write, Jingy? Hold on, give me a second, because, Jingy, you writing a whole bunch. I'm going to need you not to be sitting on your computer. Would you ever consider going live while you are in court? You can ask the judge if you can bring a phone with you. Now, with that being said, I would love to do that. And I don't know if I'm big enough for a live, but I do believe I've got enough pull to actually have a court hearing or whatever recorded and then reposting. I think I can do that. But yes, I would actually love to do that. And not all, okay, understanding, yes, they're private because they're businesses. They're for-profit businesses. They actually show you the seal when you walk in the door. That's their business license. Now, the thing is, you have to understand, they're doing things to generate revenue. They don't want the world to see ways to not pay them. So at the end of the day, because just like the easy, I talk about my DeKalb County case constantly with the RICO. You can pull it up. There's nothing attached to it. They would not even turn over the transcripts. And just so happened, you know, I would say in that, because it was so many of us that was arrested, there was over 100 people that either lost their job or changed jobs. And Jody Fleischer, she was a reporter. She lost one of her jobs, and then, you know, she doing trafficking bullshit like that. And she had to go somewhere else. John Melvin lost his job. He had to go somewhere else. Robert Dean, he went to the private sector. The chief, matter of fact, the warden at the DeKalb County Jail, he resigned. I believe we got our case was won October 25th, 2012. He resigned November 1st. So they understood, because at the end of the day, even during my bond hearing, the one thing they said was I was a menace to society because I had no limits. And I sued judges, district attorneys, police officers, corporations. And the judge laughed and he said, well, it sounds like he sues people that don't do what they're supposed to do. And you're exactly right. But at the end of the day, it's understanding the concepts of how to do it the right way. And, oh, what's up, Grandpappy? I was wondering if you was going to be up tonight. But, yeah. What other questions y'all got for me before I sign off on the night and see if I actually want something to eat. Somebody should cash at me some lunch money or something. Let me go get a sandwich. But anyway, understanding the fact that you can withdraw consent, because that's actually what this video was supposed to be about. And there are limits to even the withdrawal, but it's all about the fight itself. Is it better to be tried by a jury or a judge? Now, one of the things that was given to me, and it was by one of my brothers that was not actually in the trial, but he was charged, was you have to know your opponent. So if you have a judge that is a constitutional judge, straight-laced, straight down the middle, does not pick a side, and you understand how to not only write your motions, but to set the arguments, then I would say a judge. Now, understanding the jury factor. The jury factor gives you one thing. They have to get 12. You have to get 1. Can you convince one person to stand strong enough to stay with you? Because the reason why they have 12 is for the mob mentality. Because most people are going to be intimidated because they want to be led. So you also don't want 2 alphas on your jury. Because if you have 2 alphas on your jury when you're picking Wadir, it's a good chance you're going to have a hung jury. Or it's a good chance that you're not going to pick up the 1. Because if both of them have the same idea, they're going to force everybody else in that one direction. Or if you have one with a very strong opinion, half is going to go with that one, and then the other half is going to go with the other one. And who's ever strongest of those alphas, everybody else will follow. And in our case, it was a 24-year-old art student that was 6'5", 300 pounds. He was the alpha. And decent-looking young man, very intelligent, open-minded, and the rest of the jury was women. That wasn't a hard pick. And matter of fact, he was my first pick. He was juror number 19. I circled it. And and what was funny about it, because most people didn't understand what it was that we were doing, but I understood the ideals of how the mind works. So you have to understand the fact that depending on the picture you're trying to paint, you have to get people and pick people that can see not only the picture that you're painting, but can understand what it is that you're articulating to them to build that picture. So it's one thing I was going to do, but I'm doing it on another channel, is talk about a couple of books that I recommended reading, because I gave my son a book a couple weeks ago, and it was The Art of War. And The Art of War explains our judicial system very well, because the one thing you have to go, my paperwork is crap. How to get better on paperwork? greatestnow at yahoo.com. And hopefully, if you don't have Cash App, you download it. But you holler at your boy. I got you. Because the whole thing is about getting us all stronger. And the Art of War, the one thing I use constantly, because they're going to... What's up, JC? And the one thing about it is it talks about offering your enemies a way out. That is what I refer to as allowing them to cover their own ass. And that's what they will do before they do anything else. Because if you want them to either get out your way or throw another person under the bus, that's what you have to do. You have to allow them the leeway of getting out of your way. And you do that through another book that I'm going to recommend. It's Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins, Asking Better Questions. Because Awakening the Giant Within, it's a great book, but it doesn't deal with what it is, but it does kind of, because it helps you learn what your light is. Yep, Tony Robbins. And but it helps you understand that your light is powerful. Let it shine. So that generally will help you with your confidence. But when you're talking about application, It's understanding the picture is being painted and you're trying to convince somebody else to walk with you on what you're saying. So you have to ask better questions. And that's what that book will help you do. And it's a recommended read. And I'm also going to do one on, I believe it's Rick Warren, Purpose Driven Life. Because that's actually why, exactly, truth shines all by itself. Yes, it does. But you have to be able to articulate it to someone that can't see it. Because you got to remember, a lie spreads faster than the truth. Why? Because the truth is substance and we're in a microwave society. So everybody wants to be a snack. We got very few full, we have very few full meals. So the reason why everybody's here is because I give you a full meal. I ain't giving you no snacks. We don't snack with me. We eat. And that's another thing too. And that's because we allow little things. I'm gonna tell you the one thing I have a problem with. And y'all tell me what it is. Because again, I did the video, Words Have Power. And it was because I got aggravated with particularly our educational system. But about a week ago, this grown-ass man was talking to me. And he has an accent. He's country as hell. I get it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I told him, I said, yeah, you know what? Text me because I'm doing something. So he begins to text me. He starts off with this Ebonic shorthand texting that the kids do. This man is 40 fucking years old. I don't do the Ebonics, for one. And then two, I don't do this shorthand text message. I'm a grown person. I don't do that. So I text, hey, man, you got to spell this out. Talk to your phone. Now, what I did not realize is that Siri allows for this broken English to be put into your phone as a text message. So even Siri is dumbed down so you can get a message across. And I was like, oh my God. But what got me was this 40-year-old man could not spell probably. I'm gonna say that one more time. This grown-ass man, 40 fucking years old, could not spell probably. But he was having an issue in court. And I looked at my 18-year-old son and I said, spell probably. He spelled it. This grown man spelled probably P-R-O-L-L-Y. And he goes, nobody has ever corrected me. I wanted to punch him in his face. And I said, you know what? That's why you can't find a job. That's why you're allowing folks to hold you back, because of that dumb shit right there. You're subscribing to being ignorant. That is where a lot of us are falling down at. We don't use the things that are set before us that allow us to be better, such as Grammarly. Grammarly will change, but you got to watch Grammarly. Grammarly is about as bad as Siri, because Grammarly will change the whole meaning of a sentence, because it'll change a word that you didn't even type. So you got to watch Grammarly. So go back and proofread your shit before you send it. But you also have spell check. There are a lot of words, because I misspell receive constantly. And you're right, JC. And I actually, now keep in mind, I'm a business owner. So people send me applications and resumes. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I see why the jail population is going up and nothing else is. Because if you don't know how to spell, if you cannot articulate simple things, if you can't keep it simple, you are not going to be able to fight back. They're taking away your ability to fight. It's like in the old days, they used to suit up and armor up. Then They took away their armor. That's exactly what's going on right now. They're taking away their armor and their ability to fight back because words have power. And if you change what that word is, just because you want to fancy it up and use that Ebonics crap and say, oh, well, that's my language. Guess what? That's not the language in the courtroom. That's not what they speaking. It was a difference that they have it in there. Yeah, the Grammarly commercials are hilarious because I think to myself, you know what? Because some of the stuff that they're showing is stupid. You know, not all of them, but yeah, some of the stuff they show is stupid. So yeah, I get the tease from it too. But it's understanding that you have to expand, you have to get better, you have to iron sharpens iron. That's why I don't mind if somebody corrects me. I don't mind that because it doesn't just benefit me, it benefits all of us. Because everybody that's watching, y'all are not. What time is it? It's damn near. Well, it's 11:30 where I'm at, so it's at least 12:30. Ain't nobody watching me because I'm a cute dude. I ain't getting naked for nobody. I'm out here offering you a full meal. Everybody eating. 9:30. Where are you at? You are out there, grandpappy. But hell, 9:30 is still late. You know, if the game ain't on, I'm not up at 9:30. Oh, you in Cali? Oh, okay. Yeah, I got a little bit more ways. I'm gonna get close. I'm gonna not get all the way out there. I'm gonna get close to you though. Oh, okay. My boy out there in Napa Valley then. Okay. Yeah, and I know about you. I left from out there a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I didn't stay down there long. I think we stayed down there like a day. What is the significance of autographing, writing, or signing your name on a line? Wow. See, oh yeah, they are bad out there. They're bad. They crooked. I'm gonna say, outside of DeKalb County, they're pretty crooked. And I've actually got a video. Okay, Mike, you wrote consent. Oh, y'all are answering the question. Okay, well I can keep rolling. But yeah, all of that, yeah, all of that they said. You're offering acknowledgement. Remember I told you that because again, just like when I was telling you, I'm gonna go into implied consent, oral contracts, because that's what the signature does. It's an implied consent. It's an oral contract because understand contracts can be written on napkins and be reinforced. Contracts can be recorded over a phone and be reinforced. Because I constantly tell you guys, you can't argue with yourself. Is that your signature? Yes, that's my signature. It matches everything else that I wrote. Okay, then that's the contract. That's your acceptance or your acknowledgement. So just keep that in mind. And what else we got? What else? What else? That it? That's all we got for right now. Did somebody send me sandwich money? What we got? All right, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find another question. Wise people speak because they have something to say. Fools because you know what? That is a great. Oh, Zelle is the if you want to do a wire but you don't want to spend the money, you just go to your bank and tell them you want to Zelle to this email address and they send it. While the cop is searching, can you withdraw consent after they start? Change your mind. Absolutely. And that falls under Terryville, Ohio. But remember, you can withdraw consent at any time, whether it's your car, your house, or even your person, once you've given it. Because just like I was talking about Daniel Ross, he withdrew consent. The problem was, once they find something, you cannot withdraw it. You can't say, all right, well, go look. And then you're like, oh, ignore that head that's sitting in that duffel bag. No. they found it, and you gave them permission to look. So yes, you can challenge it, but you gave them permission to look. That's why it goes into habit. Only a warrant overrides revocation of scent or when they find something. Correct. Because the one thing I don't do is give them probable cause. Because consent. Because remember I told you, they're working for you, working towards your benefit. That's why they need your permission to do their job. I'm going to say that one more time. They need your permission to do their job. Unless there's a crime. That is the only time they have authority. If there is a crime. You found the head in the bag. Well, yeah. You know, at the end of the day, yeah, ignore that head in that duffel bag. Yeah, you can't look in there. However, if you offer consent, say, well, can I search your car? You can search the glove compartment. That's it. You can actually point, just like a warrant has to be specific, you can be specific in allowing them to search certain things. Yeah, you can search that trunk for him, or you can search this particular place for that. If they go beyond that, it is then a violation. And here's the great part. We know they're going to go beyond that. So why even start it? Because that's just like, and I hate to use this example, it's just like a guy when they trying to get some. Oh, well, I'm going to do this so far. Yeah, that's a lie. That's an absolute lie, because we having full-blown sex then. So, you know, it is what it is. You can't give me a little bit and be like, yeah, all right. Nope. It is going down. You should cover inventory as a ruse to search for evidence of it. Yeah, yeah, just the tips. Yeah, that's a lie. Survey says that is a lie. And I'm going to tell you now, ain't no need in asking me, because it's going down. However, no means no. I don't condone the exploitation of others. I guess that's the service announcement. That's the public. Yeah, okay. However, just understand, that's my service announcement. But yeah, I don't ever offer the consent in the beginning, because just like I tell everybody, here's the biggest issue everybody has. Because just like, I'm going to go into a couple, like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, when someone accused him of something, he paid them. So now every time somebody accuses him of something, they expected a check. And then Mike had to fight for his innocence. Why? Because he couldn't keep cutting checks. R. Kelly, which is probably a horrible example, but R. Kelly, somebody accused him. He cut a check. People kept accusing him. He kept cutting checks. Then all of a sudden, he had to fight for his innocence. Why? Because he couldn't keep cutting checks. Me, you accuse me, we got to fight. I don't get, he sat over here, nope, we're going to go up. Because you got to go get Jesus plus 12 more people to say I did it. And I'm like Steve Harvey. I don't give a shit if you got a video with my social security number tattooed on my ass. That ain't me. You got to prove that. I can't give it to you. You're going to have to earn that. And you're going to have to earn every bit of it. I ain't just going to give it to you. We finna fight. Because like I said, that citation is your contract to get in the ring. And guess what I'm doing? I'm training for that every day. I don't play, as Deontay Wilder said, I don't play law. I live it. This is what I do. I wake up with this shit. I go to sleep with this shit. I got my head in one of these books all day, except when I'm eating. And then I'll play a video game, and then I'm right back at it. Because at the end of the day, my desire to be left alone, not necessarily for the fight, but to be left alone, is higher than my desire to get comfortable. Because the most dangerous thing in life is to find comfort. Because the second you're comfortable, that's when you're in trouble. Because that's when, oh shit, I can lose this. I can lose. No, you come for me, you got to come. Because I'm coming for you. Because that, I guess that's the only sense that I have that's kind of paganist. Because I do live for an eye for an eye. Because I'm taking both of yours. You come for mine, I'm taking both of yours. Okay, hold on. Somebody just asked a question. Oh my God. What did you mean Harvard is HarvardLawReview.com. HarvardLawReview.com. You can go on there, and not necessarily case specific, because like I say, you type in Terry v. Ohio, you're gonna get at least 1,000 different papers and case studies and all that other stuff, because they make free videos for classes. I think they do, because I know Wharton has some videos, MIT has videos, but they're in different places. Not all of them are on YouTube. Not all of them are in their actual portal. But yes, they do have them on there. And Stanford as well. Stanford, University of Pennsylvania, Yale, UC Berkeley, Cornell, and it was one other, Princeton. All of them have free access to certain cases, and also they give you access to different points of views from certain cases, and all that's free online. And generally, you just type it in, and just type in Princeton Law Review. Yeah, Cornell is great. Cornell gives you a different perspective. Yeah, and their podcast. The only thing I don't like about the podcast, even though I have one. Oh, what's up, Sparks? It's all right, because I've been on longer than I plan. I actually plan on being on here like 20 minutes. Have good notice. And you know what? I'm noticing that as well. So again, in 2020, that's where I'm actually I'm looking to set up a place where all of my videos can be. I don't have to worry about the monetization BS. I don't have to keep fighting with YouTube and Google to get money, or to even have them, because, to get, it's crazy, because like they always, oh, that's copyright strike, that's copyright, that's copyright, that's copyright, it's copyright, it's copyright. Like, goddamn, how's it copyrighted? But I don't have any copyright strikes. Then they demonetizing videos, but then because like last week I went and looked on a couple of my videos. I'm like, hold on, they got commercials. Why am I not getting credited for the commercials that are being played on some of these videos? Because it's showing on my end that they're demonetized. And yes, they are hiding information, and generally it's because I talk so much about the police unions. Oh, and I appreciate that. Olmstead v. United States is a 1928 case. I appreciate that, but I'll go into that later, because that's I have a question for you, but it's off topic. Go ahead. We've been off topic for most of the night. So, oh, my fault. So what we got? Mm. You know what? I ain't heard my Cash App go off. Ain't nobody send me no money for brother hungry. I can't get a sandwich. Y'all ain't showing the brother no love. I'm hurting. What's your question? Oh, that's what's up. You off the chain. I appreciate you, grandpappy. Does all paperwork have to be filed before you plea. I would not even enter a plea. I actually, I've actually created trust and put your YouTube channel under the trust. No, I didn't see your question. No, I did not see your question, but I'm actually, I was still on Nicole. Go up 5. Uh-oh. Well, go up 5. It goes, I have a question, but it's off topic. I don't see it. Type it again. But no, I was going with Nicole. I can't pronounce your first name, and I really don't want to tear it up. But does all paperwork have to be filed before you plea? Um, one, the one thing I do, I never enter a plea, and I've actually had a couple pleas entered for me. So what I did was file a notice of entry of no plea, because the second you enter a plea, you're contracting with them. You're offering them jurisdiction. Now, do I straight up challenge jurisdiction? No, I challenge the evidence. Now, like again, in the RICO trial, I challenged jurisdiction right, I think the day before trial. And while I was sitting there with my brother, it became a moment of arrogance. And I said, you know what? The only way they can beat me is if they steal it from me. So I was like, yeah, we can do it right here. Let's go. Look, I got tired of fighting it, because for 2 years I'm running from court to court to court to court. My brothers were coming from Florida, and my family was going through all kind of crap. My kids had to deal with, their dad being called all kind of names and all kind of foolishness. And it was just like, you know what? Fuck it, let's go. Because I was at the point where I was like, you know what? They can't beat me. And the problem with it was, I'm one of those people. I gamble big. I bet big. And I looked at the point where, I'm not even gonna lie, I was almost broken. God damn, 9 billion. But no, I was almost broken. They almost got me, because my whole thing was, my son was just born, and I was like, I'll be damned if I'm not gonna be in this boy life. The problem is the fact that they left it overcharged. I do mean left it overcharged. And when you're talking about the aspects of what's being done and how it's being done and how you're accepting it, I asked the question of, what's your level of justice? How far are you willing to go? How much of that monster are you willing to take in? And just like a friend of mine always tells me, everybody's not built to be a leader. And his response most of the time is, whenever I say something, I'll say something to him, and it's like a stupid remark, and he'll look at me and goes, somebody got to make the fries. I'm like, okay, you're right, because everybody can't be a manager at McDonald's. Somebody's got to make them damn fries. So, even in those situations, everybody's not meant to stand up. Somebody's got to make the fries. Somebody's got to take that plea. Somebody's got to be broken. Because you got one manager, you got 4 motherfuckers on fries. You know what I'm saying? So that's how our system is geared towards. And positive vibes, I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. And it's supreme decisions. I appreciate you. But the fee schedule, just in case the accuser is wrong. Now, I'm going to say this because I'm looking at a couple of the comments. I'm not going to lie. Doing it through the fee schedule, I've never enforced it that way. I've never enforced any infraction through the fee schedule. I understand it. Thanks for the shout out. Appreciate you. Well, I guess you're welcome. But I think that's in one of the videos that I've got coming up, because it falls under if you don't want to do UCC, you have to do well, what the pros say, that's done through the entry of appearance. So the other stuff, while you can do that, is not 100% necessary, because again, not everybody wants to be responsible for themselves. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I looked at a couple of those answers and I was like, okay, I'm not sure where you're trying to go with it, but because I'm not even gonna bullshit you. I don't mind anybody being in here. I don't mind anybody speaking what's on their mind. I don't like to block people, but it's just supreme decisions. It should be the $ then supreme decisions. Do you anything about controlling the name? Again, those are aspects that you can have. They're good to have in place, but I've never found the necessity to attempt to enforce it through that. Now, are there people that do that exclusively? Yes, but there are also people that don't know how to assume the name. I'm not sure what that means. Assume the name in Minnesota. Or were you answering a question? How you thought it? You know what? Hold on. Y'all give me a whole second. Cause I gotta figure out something. There we go. Boom. All right. Positive vibes is gone. Cause how the hell you think it's football, and the literally name is Supreme Conversation, and it's withdrawing consent. So yeah, we got all that foolishness gone. I don't like blocking anybody because, like I said, I don't mind people speaking their mind or speaking what's on their mind. All caps name is difficult. Just stick to simple Yeah, and you know what? While it's good to know, it's not necessary. And those are the things, because I'm not even gonna lie, I actually, some of the stuff that y'all are talking about, I've done, but I've never found it necessary to enforce it, because I go through the court system, but I do my paperwork in the means that they're not used to seeing it come through, because it's line by line, precept upon precept. And I got so sick of Alicia was saying that to me every day. That is how I work it. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Because everything that you do, say, live, has a procedure and a process to it. Do not try to circumvent the process. Oh, okay. So I guess I'm the only one that can see him. All right. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, let me go through here. No, I'm not gonna worry about that. I'll get him. I'll get him on my end in a minute. I need to make my boy a moderator. So you know what? That's what I might start doing, because I might actually start doing more lives. I appreciate you, Sparks. No, if it pops back up, I'll do it on my end. But just trying to keep it simple going through the court system itself and doing it the right way, applying the stuff that you need, taking opinion out of it. Because I was having a conversation with one of my people a couple days ago, and I informed him, I was like, look, you got to keep it simple. Because if you're writing a complaint and it goes beyond 8 pages, there we go. And it goes beyond 8 pages, it's generally not going to be read, because when you're looking at the law of numbers, the law of numbers this is probably even worse now, because you have to understand, because even include yourself in this. After high school, 75% of people never read another book. That includes the people that go to college now. Keep that in mind. They never read another book. And of that 25% that do read another book, less than 25% of them, your procedure. And you know what, that is a great thing too. I'll get into that too. But less than 25% of those people read beyond the first chapter. Now, when you go into the following 25%, less than 10% of them that read past the first chapter read a complete book. And less than 10% of those people that read a complete book read more than one. Just remember, these include judges. Judges are not reading beyond 8 pages, because all they care about, what is the violation? What is the law that goes with that violation? Okay. All right. So hopefully y'all can't see positive vibes anymore, because hopefully it was blocked. I'm not sure, because I'm new at this, because I generally don't block any assholes. But yeah, ain't no sense in keep doing stupid shit for no reason. But I read a book. I've read a couple. Very few do I read cover to cover though. I think I've read maybe 10 books cover to cover. Okay, appreciate it, Grandpappy. Because yes, most of these guys are not reading past 8 pages. What was the violation? Who violated you? What's the law that goes with it? And what are you looking for from it? Now, just to give you an example, you don't need an exact, because I'm going to talk about this too. Generally, if you look up any major lawsuit that actually went to verdict, look at the amount that people are paid. So, just to give you an example, and I appreciate you, Sparks. Just look at the example. The young woman that was burned by coffee at McDonald's. She took McDonald's to trial. She won $3.4 million. McDonald's wrote a motion to set aside the verdict. They end up paying this young woman $300,000 for her injuries. She won $3 million. She got less than 10% of her winnings. You look at Cox Media. They were sued. They went to verdict for $14 million. They end up settling out for $1.3 million because that was the legal fees the person actually paid out, plus $300,000 or $350,000. When you have these big corporations, it's not about the money. It's about wearing you out, because to that point, it's probably 3-4 years since it started, because they're going to keep going. Can Pro Se get attorney fees in a... Exactly, yes. Pro Se can get attorney fees. How that works is going in as a general private attorney. Or, hold on. Or private attorney general. Okay, I guess I'm starting to get sleepy a little bit. But as a private attorney general, because you're going in with something, and yes, oh, you taking notes? That's great. That's what's up. But yes, private attorney general, and yes, you can recoup that. But it's a matter of keeping meticulous notes and keeping your receipts, and also keeping everything documented. But yes, you can get those fees. Oh, y'all almost got 100 minutes of Supreme. What's going on? We got 3 minutes left. What we gonna do? We got any other questions? Any more snide remarks? Anybody got something nice they want to say about me? What about my hair? Y'all like my hair? I think it's tight. How can they get verdict reductions like that? Motions to set aside the verdict. I'll go into that. Because, again, yes, sir. But yeah, again, when you're talking about a motion to set aside the verdict, the whole thing is, it's not about money. It's about a means. Yeah, call me in the morning. Hit me on greatestnow at Yahoo and send me a phone number, and we'll talk in the morning. And what was I talking about? I was talking about something. Motion to set aside the verdict. Motion to set aside the verdict is simply a means of, okay, you sue me for $100 million. Yes, John Branch. Attorney fees, as Pro Se. I think that's what we're still talking about. I don't know if you get it, but I sent. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's what I was telling you. I did get them, and I did get them Sparks. Greatestnow at Yahoo.com, and send me your number so we can talk in the morning. There we go. What's up? Transparency. Haven't seen you in a while. Okay, I went blank. Let me go back. Oh no, actually, I do not use a big jingy. I use a straight razor. No electric razor. No, I use that old school straight razor. And you know what? Transparency is one of the auditors that I like, because he does it the right way. I'm going to say that one more time. It's done the right way. And basically it's understanding how to do the qualified immunity, because they end it for us, but it's how we enforce it. But yeah, I don't want to soup him up, so I'm not gonna tell Transparency it's done right. Okay, yeah, set aside the verdict. Appreciate you, Mike. But yeah, you got to remember, okay, if you sue me for $100 million, right? Let's say I put that $100 million in escrow. Guess what I just paid you? Because now you've been waiting 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to see something. You still got to live. You still got to work. You still got to do all this other stuff. And you've been sitting up here worrying about me. You still been going to court. Still got to live your life. You still got to do all. So it's like, you know what? Damn this. I'm not going to keep doing this for another 4 years. So you say, all right, well, what's your deal? And they give you an offer. You say, no, I don't want that. This is what I want. So, all right, well, this is what we got. I don't want that. I want this something else. Okay, cool. We'll go back to court. And then you're thinking, you know what? Damn that. What was that last offer? And then you say, you know what? If you can bump it up another 50,000, I'm good. Why? Because they beating the dog out you. You're sitting up there. You fought as hard as you can fight. Okay, immunity for when you're talking about discretionary acts. Knowing your constitution knows no it takes away immunity for. Okay. Discretionary acts is generally any act that violates one of the Supreme Court cases that we talk about. Because just like I said, just by telling you, like let's say, because again, one of the cases that I've gone over, oh, I appreciate that. One of the cases that I've gone over, it talked about, I actually got to edit the video, where the traffic stop itself is not a crux for a crime. So a police officer giving you instructions that you follow is a Fourth Amendment violation because it's a show of authority stop. If they're telling you to go over here or go sit down or go do this or stop or leave or anything that restricts your motion is a show of authority stop. That is where they lose their qualified immunity because it's outside the scope of what the state can allow them to do, which is Edelman v. Jordan. And like I said, that's one of the ones that I've supposed to have done but haven't edited yet, but it's coming. So, but again, that's through the application. Okay. All right, what else we got? What else we got? JC, do a counter offer of what you want. Okay, I missed part of that conversation. Are y'all talking amongst each other? Who can do it longer and further? It's like, that's exactly what it is because they want to see who can stay in the longest. They want to check your heart. That's why you have to do certain things. And because I had one, and you have to understand your opponent, which is why you go and sometimes you pull up with me, I pulled up a certain company because I sued a hospital once. And I pulled up the company that owned the hospital. And it came up with maybe 10 different cases. And I looked at the tactics that they were using during those cases. That on one day of law school, you have to be like a lawyer. I heard on a podcast that one day one of the law school, you have to be like a, seems like a big show. Yes, that's it. That's exactly what it is. A production. It is truly a production. Okay, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, the peeing contest. But yeah, you have to go in and understand their tendency to do something. And their tendency was to force you in. Cox Media is a great one. Cox Media had a settlement with me, and it did not take a bunch of years. It took a couple of months. Okay, and the hospital I sued, I went and looked up the company, and what they were doing, they were trying to prolong. They would file continuous after continuous after continuous after continuous after continuous. Because remember, When you're fighting, you still have to show up for the fight. You have to show up each and every time. And then what happens is you get tired of showing up, and then that one time you missed, they got it. They got you. Because then they file a motion to dismiss because you didn't care enough to show up. And the thing is, we don't do that. Because we don't realize we also have to agree to the continuance. There has to be a valid reason for a continuance. We also have to prepare if they are not ready. All those bases have to be checked. And even with me, one of the things I did, I used, I hate to say, I used a couple of Gestapo tactics to get folks' attention because most people don't understand nice. They understand extreme. They understand, sometimes I use 6'4", 280, 290, 300 pounds to my advantage because this is chess, not checkers. It's about who can gain the best position the fastest. That's it. And most of the time, they want you to leave them the hell alone because just like with the Michael Jackson incident, just like with the R. Kelly, once they cut one check, they got to keep cutting that same damn check. Nobody wants to keep doing that. And 90% of them, they're a billion-dollar corporation. Guess what they're not going to do? Waste time with you. If they're a few $1 million, depends on how hard you hitting them. Because even like a police officer, I wait for them to do something stupid, then I file injunctions on them. Because guess what they're going to do? You're dealing with somebody, just as they do. They're dealing with somebody with a low IQ. Most of them have anger issues. Most of them have ego problems. Most of them are clowns that got beat up and need to feel important. So they can be antagonized quickly. And the easiest thing to do to antagonize them is to ignore them. Don't acknowledge they exist. I actually had one get upset with me because I would not call him detective. Give a fuck, I'm not suing Detective Ronald. I'm suing Ronald punk ass. So? And speedy trial is a way if you got a criminal case. Because if they don't, that's a violation of due process. That's a willful act. Their immunity is gone. They are now without harmless error. Because, see, filing the motion for speedy trial puts them in jeopardy because they have to do something. Because even if the DA doesn't have all the information, because we know the police ain't going to turn over everything, the DA, if they're continuing to move forward with it, becomes liable, just like the police officer. So just keep that in mind. Those are the things that you have to have set forth, but you have to be prepared for filing these motions to stop their stupid tactics. Or even, because like with me, I actually had 2 where I seized their assets. Because if you can't cash the check, guess what you coming to do? Hey, we need to talk. Oh, you want to talk to me now? Okay. So the same thing they would do to you to try to take your assets from you, you do the exact same thing to them. God dang. Are you serious, Holmes? 18 times? That's out of hand. Are they giving you citations and stuff every time? Well, no, I wouldn't even go to the point of the FBI because they're not going to do anything either. Although they're separate, but they're at least. Are they writing citations? Okay. So, yeah, what they're doing right now is trying to intimidate you. And what I'm going to say for you, Holmes, I'm actually going to put up a link. It's a HD motion camera that you mount in your car, and it mounts to your rear view. It's really small, so they can't even complain that it's there because most of them will not see it. And it records not only 1080p. You can go live on it, and it records audio. So even if they try to turn it off, it goes to a separate server. So they can cut the camera off, it still records, it still goes to a backup server, and they can't delete the video. And you can use that as your proof to say, hey, I got stopped this day, this day, that. And then you can send it on to other means, which, I can help you do that later. But at the end of the day, that's one of the things that you want to set up. All right. Any more questions? You know what? Yeah, that's actually a great thing too, to record them and post it. What's up, Mr. Mo? I'll be home tomorrow. Tundor for life, baby. Hey, I appreciate you, Mo. All right, any more questions before I sign off tonight? And your boy still can use a sandwich if y'all cloud protected car camera mounted. What is this? Okay, yes. One of those is for the judge. I think 1842 is for the judge, and let me see if I can find the other ones. Okay, you got a whole bunch of stuff on there. Now, here's the question, because you said shows they stopped you in their records. The problem is getting them to turn those over, because you remember California has it where they can destroy those records after, I believe, 60 days. And they will BS you and not respond to subpoenas. They will not respond to a lot of stuff. And then when you go to get it, now it's a problem, because even taken in the federal court, those records don't exist anymore. Now, not to say that you're in California, but that's something that's being employed across the country, because that's the problem we're having with all police departments. Got it once already. Okay, well, keep doing it. That's all I can say, because now, nothing works better than video. Just keep that in mind. Because not only can you not argue with yourself, but you can't argue with you on video. So those are the things that you might want to keep a lookout for. So I appreciate you guys. And don't forget, Cash App. It's Supreme Decisions. Apple Pay. You can text the GOCP. Hold on, let me type this in, because y'all, I think y'all, top chat, live chat. I don't even understand what that just happened. How am I not able to type on my own thing? It's trash, I tell you. What's this? Okay, that's too much. Doing too much. There we go. There go the chat. Boom, go down. What's this? Close that. Oh, absolutely. It can be used against you. So, okay. Thank you. I will appreciate you, Nicole. Definitely. All right. Love you guys. Don't forget, email again to say greatestnow@yahoo.com. And no, I don't take checks, but I do take cash app. Get it? Got it? How I did it? You're like, okay, don't worry about it. They use anything they can against you, and anything they can make pull up. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's about revenue. Okay, that's fine. How about 2-party checks? I don't even know what that means. I ain't gonna lie to you. But if you don't have one, Zelle might work if you're trying to send a check, because that comes directly from the bank to me. So, and I think it's also greatestnow at yahoo.com. And the Apple Pay is send me a text, thegocp at gmail.com, which is pretty much the email that you saw. The gocp at gmail.com. Venmo is Supreme Decisions. What's Google? Google is the GOCP at Gmail. Miranda needs to be updated to include anything you say can and only can only for your benefit. Yeah, no, that's not what it's gonna say. Because what's funny is it doesn't say you have the right to an attorney. It says you have a right to counsel. A counsel is not an attorney. And I actually had to explain that to a guy one day, because the Constitution was written by attorneys, but the word attorney is not in the Constitution. The word counsel is. That's why you have the choice of counsel, not the choice of attorney. Words have power. The exercising is done through the writing. That's why the pen is mightier than the sword. Those things you have to keep in mind. Because even with the spelling, has to be done correctly, because if it's not, you're going to be deemed incompetent. And even when you're working pro se, you cannot use the factor of, while you offer more leniency as pro se, you also cannot use ineffectiveness of counsel. Even if you choose someone that is not a bar card carrying member, you cannot use ineffectiveness of counsel, no matter how horrible they are or not. That is not something that you can use. But if you have an attorney and you're instructing them, you do your instructions in writing, you record it. Because if they do not do what you're instructing them to do, they are then liable. So, and I think I did that video about 2 weeks ago. Because you are, again, everyone in the courtroom works for you. They have a fiduciary duty towards your benefit. You have to understand that your light is bright and you got to let it shine. Do not worry about the outside speakers, because they don't do anything. That's fine. Hell, I wish more people would leave me thumbs down, because that make my videos more popular. Yes, exactly. You want to do you got to exercise. The exercising is done by going out and putting it in writing, exercising with the pen. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. If I take my ass to sleep, I'll be done for the night, but I'll be back on tomorrow. If not, I'll probably be back on in a couple hours. So love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Adios.